gender someone, it's
That's not
irreligious
true.
individual. Yeah, it is true.
Well, that's only because it's in America, but you try going to the Middle East. Let's say you go right now anywhere in the Middle East and say, hey, I don't believe in God. How do you think I would be treated?
It depends where you go in the Middle East. For sure, there are crappy religions.
90%,
That's
to
not the
use your
point.
stats, if I go to 90% of the places, including
Correct.
Israel, and I've been in Israel before, what would you think people would say or how they would view
Oh,
you?
you've never been to Israel, by the way, right? Most Israelis are not religious.
That
Most.
is
Look at this.
very half true.
So I'm an Israeli citizen. I mean, actually, we just came back from Israel, right? Most Israelis are not religious. Most Jews are not religious around the world. In Israel, not
100 years
God-
ago, do you think that this was the case? That's my point about as far as this bit, though.
Israel has
200
gotten
years ago.
actually more religious than its inception in 1948, right? Israel was founded by atheists, not religious people, unfortunately.
Israel was founded by atheists.
Yeah, I mean, David Ben Gurion was an atheist, right?
So
Herzl was an
then
atheist.
I guess Israel is not a state for Jewish individuals?
Yeah, it is, but most Jewish individuals are atheists.
I have a really hard time believing that because almost every Jewish individual I've met, granted, it's been California and
the
the
Chuck
East Coast.
Schumers in the world.
I guess
Yes.
my point is, again,
Most
if we
Jews are
go
on the
back
left, and
200
most
years
Jews are
ago,
religious. What?
if we go back 200 years ago, do you really think that this was the case? I'm saying that this is a new thing as far as the atheism accepted in
For the
Judaism.
most part, in terms of how many there happen to be, then yes. But the atheistical movement amongst Jews is probably around 300 years old. It really
Okay,
took
so
around
new,
this
so
movement
very
called the
new.
Haskalah. Huh?
So very new. That's a very young thing in the history of Judaism, which is thousands of years old.
Yeah, no, I agree. No, the reason why, and there's reasons why,
Sure.
and it's mainly because of Kabbalah. Kabbalah gave birth to this idea called the Haskalah. So the Haskalah is a Jewish enlightenment, which is basically the result of people telling Jews that what makes them special is having a Jewish soul and not actually being religious. So a lot of them opted to just parade this soul around instead of distinguishing themselves by Torah observance. So
Yeah.
yes, the vast majority of Jews are not religious, unfortunately.
I wouldn't say the vast majority. I mean, can you really
vast
say
majority.
the vast?
Yeah, the vast.
I mean,
What
if
do you
so,
live in
please
California?
put
You're
a
telling
study out here. No, but that's different, and especially in California. I mean, come on, that's a quote unquote cultural Judaism, which is a very relatively new thing, like you admitted, at the most 300 years ago. That's very new as far as like Judaism goes.
No, I understand. For sure, in Talmudic times, or even in the times of Maimonides, and for sure in Sephardic countries, the majority of Jews were religious. However, in Europe,
Yeah.
which is really the birthplace of Hasidut, the Hasidic movement, I believe that fueled the atheistical Jewish movement.
Yeah. Okay. So then, okay. So let's, I mean, I guess we can go back away from atheism, and because really the talk here is about Judaism as an alternative, right, to other religions, including atheism.
In particular.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
So
not saying
why?
that every religious person is better than every atheist. I'm saying that in the vast majority of cases, I would put my money with someone who strives to be better than someone who has to come to the conclusion on their own in order to act. That's it. I mean, I'm pretty sure you would agree that if someone has a book that he believes in, right, telling him not to eat pork, and someone does not, that the person who has that book is more likely not to eat it than the person who does not have that book.
Sure, but if that same book also has really effed up things, like talking about slavery and how you deal with that,
I think it's a great idea.
and how you
Not exactly.
no. If we're talking about Judaism, especially, we're talking about the Old Testament that Christians call, and that is full of really messed up things. So you cannot just pick the things that
we
you
can
like
definitely
that
pick.
are good.
Wait, hold on, because you also pick regarding atheism. If I mention to you Trotsky and Stalin
There is
and
no
Mao,
book for atheism.
Hold on. If I mentioned Trotsky, Stalin, and Mao, you would say, well, those aren't good representatives of like an atheistical lifestyle. So you also pick and choose, right?
No, that's different because I am not following a book that has a set of rules
following
and
a
things that one
lifestyle.
ought to do.
You're following a lifestyle that you determine.
That's not a book. That's not a book.
Okay, is that the rules here? That it can't be a book? It could be a philosophy.
That's a
built
pretty
on
big
nothing.
one.
It could be and is. Atheism is a philosophy built on nothing that amplifies human weaknesses, and that creates more harm in this planet than a book that at least strives to be ethical. Even though it may fall short 10% of the time, all right, that 90% is where has got us where we are now. And I think you should be a little more grateful.
That's where I disagree. You're saying 10%, but really it's more like 80, 90%. I mean, if you actually read the Old Testament, the amount of really messed up stuff on there is like unfathomable.
Okay, give me 5 things in the Old Testament, 5 things that you
Dude,
consider
I'll just give you
unethical.
one.
No,
Just give you one. No, I'll give you one.
There's over
How about killing
613
your
laws.
son because you think it's a sacrifice
just
that
told
is
you.
needed for a higher
Do you
being?
understand? There's 613 commandments in the Jewish Bible. Give me 5 of them that are unethical, because I said at least 10%. So that's probably less than 1%. But I bet that you can't even give me 4.
No, you're right. I cannot, because I've only read the Old Testament based on my Catholic upbringing, and so I only know the stories based on that. So you're right.
You're
I
an
cannot.
ethical person because of your Catholic upbringing. So what you're living is what's called cut flower ethics. But eventually your philosophy will catch up with you.